Hey friends and family, hey loved ones. Hey, I was just doing a video a few minutes ago and it just, my phone wanted to update and it just kind of interrupted my little stream. So I'm popping on again to share a few things. It's been over a month since my last sharing and there's been a lot that's happened in these last 6 months of 2023. And so I just kind of wanted to share some highlights and some recent realizations and insights and going through this, these cycles of growth and healing and cycles within cycles within cycles. It's kind of trippy and fun to look back into and see, what's kind of unfolded since October 2022 with the powerful eclipse windows and everything. And it's so interesting, just to learn more about everything and to be grateful for all the things that I get to experience that leads me back home to me, to help me to claim all this love that I am for me, to be free. And so a lot of things I've noticed, different themes, different archetypal themes, and just kind of when something triggers me that I see outside of me, and I see in the virtual world or the on the screen and whatnot, being presented or shown to me, it just kind of makes me think and about how I can take that and shift that or alchemize that or integrate that within myself. And so there are certain things and certain themes that really do kind of draw my attention in a lot of ways. And some of those things that I was seeing a couple months ago at the end of April and the beginning of May, there is definite themes of dismemberment and remembrance and rememberment. And the handless maiden, the tale of the handless maiden, and the tale of the red dancing shoes that I've shared before with a lot of gratitude. Those stories from Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She tells those stories beautifully, and they're loaded for psychic processing and, for helping us to heal and reveal those parts of ourselves that were denied, cast aside, or devalued. And what those things actually hold for us, the power that they actually do hold, if we can reclaim them for our own lives, healing and holding our own lives. And so the things that were coming up with those themes, just because it's just so obvious to me, that we've been so disconnected. We've been disconnected from our natural state of being. We've been disconnected from nature. We've been disconnected from our natural gifts, the natural ways in which we would communicate with each other. Disconnected and cut off from soul, from feeling, from God, from life, from ourselves, and from each other, from one another. Yeah, that is going to cause a lot of confusion. It's no wonder we're so confused. Cutting off body parts and ourselves from our own power, our own life, our own psyche, our own energy, our own life force, our own responsibility, our abilities to respond and feel and to see. So the hands are the symbol of that seeing part of the psyche that helps us see through the dark, that helps us feel our way through the dark. The hands are symbolic of that part of ourselves that can feel through, feel our way through things. and how we reach for things and how we can care for ourselves and how we can connect with each other. Like those are the hands, you know. And so like the hands have been coming up a lot for me the last couple of years. And in my soul collage, I have like several boards that I made that just have like so many different pairs of hands, like in prayer or in different mudras, poses, or holding different things. Or hands holding other hands, you know, old hands with young hands. And yeah, just the symbolic meaning of the hands, of like what that holds. What can we hold in our hands, you know? And how much can we hold? And so ownership versus possession, expression versus appropriation, vision versus image, and appreciation versus identification. Yeah, just question mark, like just kind of working out some thoughts that I had in my head. And what contributes and serves unity? Like what ultimately contributes and serves unity? I mean, and maybe all of it does, because the same force that liberates is the same force that binds, and the same force that unifies is the same force that divides. And so, can one group of people claim to possess the one right way of being or expressing personal style or their own creativity? Can one group of people claim, to have that one right way? But if they are, like, isn't that making, like, everyone else wrong? So it is egotistic in a lot of ways to think that we have, like, the one right way and everyone else is wrong. You know, it's kind of silly and arrogant. And so, is there one group that has, like, the right to their own free self-expression, but, you know, like, other people can't express themselves the way they need to or choose to, or what comes natural to them? So what is the difference between authenticity and pretending, fantasizing? What is reality and what is fantasy? If we just like think that, just because I identify with this or this is my identity, then everyone has to see the way that I see, or see me the way that I want them to see me. And that is just really juvenile and childlike in a lot of ways. And I don't think that ultimately serves us. And I don't think that we actually will be pleased, because it isn't actually true or free. It isn't allowing the other person to have their own ways of seeing. So it's like this hyper-conformity, and what's seen as moral or virtuous and trendy, I guess. So what's being true? Being true to ourselves, being true to others. How do we know if we're lying to ourselves? Like, how do we know? Because we're so confused. And so, just wondering about certain things and about why, people are so hung up on their tribal identities or their family or their ancestry, and why they're so rigid about so many things. Thinking about characters, role-playing, caricatures, and mockery, deception, suppression, and prejudices, woke programming, hostile coercion, and intimidation and force, self-righteousness, virtue signaling, and hypocritical intolerance, cancel culture, and all these isms, these ideologies, mutilation, mental illness, and trans agendas to control and manipulate perceptions, the misuse of power, the misuse of imagination, the misuse of language and attention. Misdirected energy. So I've been getting prepared, for something, that I wanted to do. And that was at the beginning of May. It just seems so long ago now that we're in June, because May was like one of the longest months of my life. And it started like with a really amazing creative burst, and I got to participate in little spring boutique at my friend's house and got to bring all my little teas and my tinctures, and I made some like little goodie baskets for Mother's Day because it was the weekend before Mother's Day. And yeah, I really, really enjoy participating in these things and supporting other local creators and artists, and like hanging out with all the other vendors, and yeah, just spending time with friends, you know, like, and supporting them with what they're doing, and yeah, buying little gifts and all that. That's my favorite part. And just being able to talk with people and answer questions about different plants and different teas and share the things that I love. And that was like, that's, you know, that is the art of living. It's not about making money for me. It's about livelihood, and it's about sharing, and it's about appreciating like all the blessings and the gifts that this life gives and is always giving. So I love that we're creating those things, and that we are our economy. We are our resources. We are the wealth. Like, we are like love's riches. Like, we really are. When we can tap into that creative prosperity, and share it, and allow it to flow to others, and open to receive the flow that wants to come through us and to us. It's for us to keep giving, for giving. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of things that are kind of like, yeah, sometimes I need to prioritize things. And like, it's awesome to like want to have this grand vision, but okay, let's be practical as well. Like, what kind of time we have, and what kind of space we have, and what can we work, you know, with here, and just kind of, yeah, like being flexible. And so like, it's taught me a lot about, yeah, just surrendering control and letting it all come together in different ways. And this is beautiful, kind of fun, creative process that I just love, and just creating that and sharing space and being a part of our community. And so that's, yeah, fun stuff that I really appreciate. And I also got to have an interview with one of my friends who does a podcast called The Sovereign Mom, and she interviewed me for my little tea shop because she loves my teas, and yeah, we've shared some awesome things. And so that was fun that she wanted, you know, to have me on her little podcast, and did like a 45-minute interview or so. And I was a little nervous about that, but I was just like, okay, we'll just show up for this and see how it goes. And so speaking and getting on just for myself, to talk some things out the last couple years, it's helped me a lot so that I'm not so terrified and nervous. And it gets easier every single time. So I'm just like grateful that I started back when I was where it was so terrifying for me, but I just got up, and I would do it anyway. I would feel the fear, and I would show up anyway. So I'm grateful to my past self for taking those risks and taking those chances and showing up and being willing to grow and to stretch my comfort zones. And yeah, just stretching and growing, integrating, contracting, and then making the space again to expand. And so, yeah, just the growth process is pretty awesome. Just, yeah, all the cycles that we go through. So there is so much noise out there vying for our attention and our energy, because they need our focus to make their deceptive programming a collective reality. They need our energy, power, perception, beliefs, and feelings, our imagination to create, because they cannot create. They are cut off from source, and they are cut off from God's love. That is the sustainable form of energy, love. The love that nourishes, strengthens, feeds, frees, gives to life, and receives. Things are not always what they appear to be. So I watched something the other day on healing the split, the internal and external division, the extreme polarization. And yeah, there was something that was said about this that was affirming and true for me, that we wouldn't get angry at a blind and a deaf person because of their belief or perception that there's no such thing as music or color. We would have compassion for them to see that their experience is different from our own. So we wouldn't have to defend, like, oh yeah, that there is color because I see this color. But yeah, this is kind of funny, you know. So we would choose to have compassion for them and see that their experience is different from our own. And although they cannot perceive our reality or our experience or what we can see, we can comprehend and relate to their experience and their reality if we are willing. Yeah. But one thing I was realizing lately was that this climate of oversensitivity, it has created overstimulation, and it has a desensitization, a weird social retardation, and sense of entitlement, over dramatization. So interesting like that, because it's become so hypersensitive, it's actually desensitized us to certain things as well. And that's kind of an interesting thing, an interesting contrast, and the pendulum swing. So I choose to focus on life-affirming choices, actions, and ways of being in the world, living, loving, giving, receiving, generously freeing, freely giving. So reciprocity, appreciation, forgiveness, humility, trusting, caring, acting, engaging, reflecting, suspending, nurturing, allowing, sustaining, sharing, prosperity, beauty, joy, honoring this gift through all ways of being whole. If you need someone else's approval or appraisal to measure your worth and your value, if you need someone outside of you to get you or agree or understand you, then you hold yourself hostage to a false image and to something external. Trauma is the wound that is sustained from inside. Trauma is the wound that you sustain inside. That's healing within a toxic culture. That was like a valuable nugget that I snagged from Gabor Mate from a video last year. I was like, oh, I never realized that. Like, the trauma is a wound that we sustain, like that we keep cycling through, and we keep reactivating. And that's why we've been stuck, you know. So May 1st through October 10th is Pluto's retrograde. And that is like, one of the huge influences right now for removing things that aren't true. Removing the things that are false from our lives. The things that don't hold substance, the things that aren't aligned, are no longer aligned with where we're going, with where we get to move into, and who we get to be. So Pluto empowers us to confront our deepest fears and recognize any self-destructive habits, beliefs, or patterns that keep us stuck in the same cycles. This retrograde is an opportunity to settle karmic debts, release past experiences, and move forward with a clean slate. It is a catalyst for soul evolution and a time to boldly face our shadow and let go of anything that no longer aligns. Expect epiphanies, revelations, truth uncovered, intense inner journey, profound emotional healing, regeneration, restructuring, renewal and rebirth, reclaiming our power, rising from the ashes. And this is a little nugget I found on social media by Alex Miles. So I thought that was an interesting little nugget there about like this Pluto retrograde that we're in right now. It started on May 1st. And so, wow, it's packing a potent punch so far with what I've been going through and how it's... I knew it was coming too. I knew it was coming. And I'm no longer dragging my feet. I realize that when I can relax and lean into the discomfort, because this year has been for me about like really kind of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, or feeling comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, because it's been super excruciatingly uncomfortable. Like a lot of things, like being pushed There is no more comfort zone. Like, yeah, there are comfortable spaces and there are comfortable things, but it's been so uncomfortable. And I feel like, yep, that's just where we get to be for the next little while. Like, we're until, we've come back to ourselves, where we don't need those coping mechanisms, that have really just kind of prolonged the agony and kept us stuck where we're at. And so, making peace with being uncomfortable or feeling uncomfortable or with the discomfort of certain things. So, and not being able to please people, or like letting that need go, and of not needing to be pleased or needing to please other people. And so, it's kind of huge for me. So, May 5th, 2023, our senses do not deceive us, but the judgments do. Goethe. And so, interesting things to contemplate and allow to percolate, thinking about impulsive tantrums and restraint, preferences, and the one right way to see, to be, to relate. Accountability and personal responsibility, screaming, tangents, and vomiting, victim villain savior programming, impeccability, the word, and being accountable for our own actions, choices, words, behaviors, and feelings. There are shadow behaviors, emotional maturity, and those who are easily offended are easily exploited, infiltrated, manipulated, and used as tools and useful idiots. Weapons. Through victim, virtuous victim, slave consciousness, and programming, blaming everyone else for their pain and their shame, their attachments to the false beliefs, stories, identities, ideologies, roles, external feedback loops, and misery. Clearing out the rubble and the old debris. For reals, please. Outgrow your own bullshit. Please, please, please. Letting go of the past, letting go of wrongs, letting go of self-pity, letting go of misery, letting go of small payoffs, letting go of fear, letting go of envy, jealousy, insecurity, and letting go of not enoughness, lack, and shortcomings. Letting go of sin, letting go of approval and codependency, letting go of false identities and untrue stories, letting go of guilt, shame, pain, and addictions to suffering. Please write and rewrite another story. Speak, embody, and create and direct and live another story. A true story, a live story, a whole story, a joyful, loving, living story, an empowered, embodied story, a full story, a love story, a great story, a fun story, a joyful, loving, happy, full, true story, a story of homecoming, coming home to ourselves. Accepting myself as I am, acceptance of what is, acceptance for all feelings and perspectives, acceptance for blind spots, ignorance, folly, forgetting, and remembering. Remembering all I love also loves me, and I am that. I am this love for me and we. I am my guidance system. I am my home. I am my life. I am my love. I am this love. I am all that I love. I am my own love. I am loved. I am loving. I am beloved. I am love. I am of both worlds, the seen and unseen. I am the divine feminine. I am awakening. I am remembering. And so I am. Awakening, remembering to my whole true self. Telling new stories, writing new stories, allowing new stories to be told. And one of the things this last month in May, as I was convalescing and hermiting and recovering physically and emotionally and psychically, from all these things, reviewing and contemplating, and musing about things. And I still sometimes catch myself when I'm feeling angry about something or irritated about something, like, man, why does this so bother me still? Shouldn't I be over this yet? Or why does this still have such a charge for me sometimes? Why am I still angry about this? And kind of feeling guilty about gosh, is it wrong for me to feel angry about this? And it's just no, it's not wrong for me to feel angry about it. It's just showing me where there's certain things, residual things that need to be cleared or resolved, or where I can actually work with it and do something different with it. And to allow myself to know that the anger is right for me to feel. It's just how I respond to it, and how I think it, and how I put it to work for me. And so, like, yeah, instead of feeling guilty, oh, that's wrong for me to feel this way about it. It's not wrong. That's just a judgment about it. And so, yeah, just kind of looking into those things and saying, okay, that's all right. I don't feel good about this. Like, that's okay. Like, this is true. Like, I'm not suppressing it anymore. So it's come to my attention. And maybe I'll always feel angry about this, and that's okay too. I can just let that go. Like, that I have to feel any other way than I feel about it right now. You know? And I'm just like willing to let it go, and to forego, and to forbear, and to forget, and to forgive. The wisdom of anger. Yeah, that's what's coming up too. Like, so I saw this Lee Harris energy update on the 1st of June. And that was one of the themes in there, was the wisdom of anger. Listen to your own inner fire. Is my anger a boundary? Is my anger a reaction? So anger as a flame. Like, so when we feel our anger flaming within us, or we feel inflamed, yeah, what are we aware of? Or what maybe is it bringing to our attention that we haven't been aware of? And it's just like helping us to resolve ongoing emotional flares. And, reclaiming that energy that we've denied our own selves. Yeah, and so I think that's an interesting theme to look at and work with. It has been for me the last couple of years, allowing myself to feel angry about things and to express that anger when I haven't ever really felt comfortable with that ever. So making friends with my anger, because there is something valuable and right for me to see. And it can help me reclaim lost parts of myself and my energy. So it has been a challenging year, a challenging month, a challenging week, and a pretty good day. All in all, love always. This was from yesterday. I'm starting to feel better with more energy. I'm less pain, less congestion, less fogginess and fatigue. But I really, really wanted to smoke today, and I was really craving a cigarette so intensely throughout several hours of the day, and that's okay. It's been 2 weeks since my last one, and I've been feeling crappy with this sinus infection, so it was easy to give up and just give back for the last little while. But I know it's like mostly psychological, and maybe it is all mental. It's all mind after all. But I did my best to relax and lean into it and move through the resistance by focusing on tasks and good things, true things, gifts, opportunities, and blessings. So yeah, it was funny yesterday. It was just like, it wasn't very pleasant, and it didn't feel very good, and it was just like, I feel so tense sometimes, like we're just really like, and I feel like a lot of people probably could relate to, like, there's nothing quite like a nicotine or a craving, or a fix. And so just kind of, instead of resisting it, just relaxing and leaning into it and knowing that it will pass as well, and just being with it right now. And then it's like, so much easier to move through like the resistance that I feel. So I'm seeing that in different ways with different things. And so we'll just keep playing around and receiving, these opportunities to reclaim and redirect my own energy. And so, see if there's anything else that I want to share. Oh yeah, I thought it was super interesting. I was watching an astrology podcast by Molly McCord the other day about like all the things that have been happening, like with Gemini in the last year or two. And Gemini is my rising sign, so I think it is interesting that there has been all of these changes and transitions and different things happening through the sign of Gemini. And so a lot of the Gemini themes arising and emerging, and archetypes and themes. And I have been thinking, yeah, that it has really, like, personally, I can see how it's personally affected me in so many different ways. Where if looking at Gemini, the sign, the corresponding body parts that Gemini holds with the hands, the arms, and the lungs, and the mind as well, and the voice, and just, yeah, some of those things. So it's really, interesting to look into those things. The lungs, the arms, the hands, the mind, and the voice, circulation, and the twins, partnership, cycles and rhythms, duality, unity, and reunion, mirroring and reflecting, projecting and redirecting, the deceiver and the liberator, the trickster, the healer, the teacher, the dreamer, the student, the seeker, the explorer, the weaver, the hero, the fool, and the creator, shining from within, rising through, in and forth, dark to light, where there is love, there is life. So, looking into new things and letting go of some of my old rigidities and some of my old patterns that I've been kind of felt stuck in for the longest time. I didn't think I could change them at all, but they are being changed. And I do have a choice, and I do have a voice, and I do see my own value and my own gifts, and I'm not excluding myself from the mix. And I do feel like I am moving into another stage of my life, and letting go of everything that I thought I was so that I can be who I really am. And if no one else sees that, that's not really up to me, and that's okay for them, like, really the only thing that I can choose is what I need for me, and I can choose and I can ask, like, to see things that I haven't seen. I can open my eyes, or I can close them, and I can go within and ask to see. And so there has been, like, some themes too about being blind and about seeing, like, definitely, like, the blind guardian in the story of the red dancing shoes, been looking into that, like, where we have been blind, where we haven't been able to see the sabotage, and to see, like, how we've been deceived, how we've deceived ourselves, how we have been manipulated, how we've manipulated each other and ourselves, like, to be things that we're not, that we're really not, but we thought we had to be in order to be loved enough or worthy or included or part of the team, And so, yeah, it's so interesting, really, to look into these things and just to start to recover some things, and also, like, to allow myself to be where I'm at too, where it's not like an ideal place, like, it doesn't feel as good as some other places have, but knowing the value and the rightness of where I am right now, so that it will move, can move me in the right direction, moving forwards. And so I feel like that's all I have for now, but I will probably come back soon with some other things when they're a little more clear for me to express and articulate. And so I hope you're being love for yourself and loving yourself and enjoying yourself, and happy new beginnings and new stories and new ways of being, and prosperity for everyone and all the love that we are. So love yourself, be yourself, for yourself, be good to yourself, and be well. We'll see you for now.